There is a specific mental state that quietly pulls money towards some people, and just as quietly pushes it away from everyone else. Napoleon Hill spent 25 years studying it, and almost no one alive uses it on purpose. He did not stumble onto this by accident. In the early 1900s, the richest man in the world, Andrew Carnegie, handed Hill a strange assignment. Go and interview the most successful people of the age and find the common thread that made them rich, so that an ordinary person could follow it. No pay, just a letter of introduction and a question that would take the next 25 years to answer. So Hill did exactly that. He sat across from more than 500 of the wealthiest people alive: steel magnates, inventors, bankers, people who had built fortunes out of nothing. He expected to find that they shared a secret strategy, a trick, a system. What he found instead was quieter and far more powerful. They shared a secret state of mind, and by the end of this, you will know how to build that same state of mind on purpose. Here is the uncomfortable truth that Hill kept running into. Your bank account is a mirror. It reflects the way you think about money long before it ever reflects the way you work for it. Two people can do the same job, earn the same wage, wake up in the same city, and end up in completely different financial lives. Not because one worked harder, not because one got lucky, because one had trained the mind and the other had left it to chance. Most people spend their whole lives working on the outside. The job, the hustle, the side income. And they never once touch the thing that actually decides the outcome. The inside, the state of mind that either draws opportunity toward them or pushes it away without them ever knowing why. Hill called the real starting point of all riches something simple. Not a job, not a lucky break. A definite state of mind he named a burning desire. And he was careful about that word, desire, because he had watched almost everyone confuse it with something weaker: wishing. Most people do not actually desire wealth. They wish for it. They would like it, the way you would like better weather. And a wish is a soft, passive thing that the mind quietly files away and ignores. Desire is different. Desire is a decision the mind cannot unhear, no matter how loudly the world argues with it. Hill loved to tell the story of a young man named Edwin Barnes. Barnes did not want to work for Thomas Edison. He wanted to stand beside Edison as a business partner. He had no money, no connections, and no reason to believe it was possible. He arrived looking like a tramp. Everyone would have called it a fantasy, but Barnes did not treat it as a wish. He treated it as a decision already made. He gave himself no way out, no backup plan, nothing to retreat to. And because the decision was total, he did not stop until the door finally opened. That is the difference between wishing and desire. One leaves an exit, the other burns it. Stay with me here, because this next part is where it stops being a nice idea and starts becoming something you can actually use. This is the exact point where most people quietly give up, and I do not want that to be you. So here is the first real shift. Stop wishing for more and start deciding on an exact figure. The mind does not respond to vague. Vague is invisible to it. The mind responds to specific. When you name the precise amount you intend to acquire and the precise reason you want it and what you are willing to give in return, you hand your mind a target it can finally aim at. Hill was almost mechanical about this. Fix the exact sum in your mind. Decide what you will give for it. because nothing comes without an exchange. Set a definite date and write it down in a single clear statement, so plain that a child could understand it. Then read that statement out loud, every morning and every night, until it stops being words on a page and becomes something your mind simply believes about you. It sounds too simple to matter. That is exactly why it works, and exactly why almost no one actually does it. Because watch what happens once that target is set. Your attention changes, without any effort from you at all. You begin to notice opportunities you used to walk straight past. The same street, the same job, the same ordinary day. But suddenly it is full of doors you never saw before. A conversation you would have ignored now sounds like an opening. An idea you would have dismissed now feels worth chasing. Nothing outside you changed. Your focus changed. And your focus is the single most valuable currency you own. Most people spend it on fear, on comparison, on the endless scroll of other people's lives. The wealthy person spends it on one clear aim, over and over, until the world seems to rearrange itself around that aim. This is where Hill named the tool that ties it all together. He called it autosuggestion. You would call it talking to yourself on purpose, before the world gets a chance to talk to you first. Every day, out loud, the people he studied told their own minds what they intended to become. Not once, not only when they felt like it. Every single day, until the mind stopped arguing and started building. And Hill discovered something strange about it. The instruction only takes hold when it is soaked in emotion. A flat, bored repetition does nothing. But when you attach real feeling to the words, when you can almost taste the life you are describing, the mind accepts it as an order and quietly goes to work carrying it out. This is the practice at the very center of the book that came out of those 25 years of interviews. Think and Grow Rich. If there is one place Hill put the whole method into plain language, it is there. But you do not need to wait to begin. You can start the practice with the next breath you take. There is a reason this works, and it is not magic. Hill believed the mind has two layers. The surface layer, the one you think with all day long, and underneath it, a deeper layer that never argues and never sleeps, and simply accepts whatever the surface layer hands it often enough. He compared that deeper layer to fertile ground. It does not judge the seed you plant in it. Plant fear, and it grows fear. Plant a clear, emotional picture of the life you intend to build, and it goes quietly to work, growing that instead. Belief is what decides which seed actually gets planted. This is why doubt is so expensive. Every time you repeat the aim, but secretly do not believe it, you plant the seed and dig it up again on the same day. The people Hill studied did not simply repeat the words. They repeated them until they believed them. And belief is what turned a sentence into an order the deeper mind could not refuse. And if this is landing, do one small thing before we go deeper. Subscribe so the next lesson finds you. Because this only works when it is repeated. And this channel exists to repeat it with you every Tuesday and Friday. If you want the full method in Hill's own words, the book is linked below. Consider it the field manual for everything we are talking about. Now, between deciding what you want and actually holding it, there is a gap. And that gap is not empty. It is filled with doubt, with delay, with the quiet voice that tells you to be realistic. Hill had a word for the people who lose themselves inside that gap. Drifters. A drifter is not lazy. A drifter can be busy from morning until night. A drifter simply never decides, and so lets the wind of other people's opinions decide the direction of their life for them. They react. They wait. They let circumstances vote on their future. And the wealthy people Hill studied had exactly one thing in common here. They refused to drift. They had decided, and a person who has truly decided cannot be blown off course by every passing opinion. What keeps most people drifting is fear. Hill spent years naming these fears, and two of them run the show. The fear of poverty, which makes you cling so tightly to what little you have that you never risk reaching for more, and the fear of criticism, which makes you shrink your dreams down to whatever will not make other people uncomfortable. Notice how both of them work. They do not attack your ability. They attack your decision. They keep you wishing, because wishing feels safe and deciding feels dangerous. The moment you see the fear for what it truly is, it begins to lose its grip on you. There is another force Hill insisted on, and it is one most people try to do without: the people around you. He called it the mastermind. He noticed that no one built a great fortune alone, in isolation, surrounded by doubters. The successful mind is fed by other minds moving in the same direction. So look honestly at the voices closest to you. Some of them are quietly keeping you a drifter, and a few of them, if you let them in, will pull you upward faster than you could ever climb by yourself. And then comes the part no one wants to hear: persistence. Hill found that the fortune almost always arrived just past the point where an ordinary person would have quit, so close that they could have reached it with one more step. The difference was never talent. It was the refusal to treat a temporary defeat as a permanent one. A trained mind reads failure as information, adjusts, and keeps moving toward the target it already decided on. Most people stop at the first no. The person who wins has simply decided in advance that no is not the end of the conversation, and desire on its own is still not enough. Hill was clear that a burning desire has to be handed a plan, and the plan has to be put into motion at once. Not a perfect plan, a first plan, acted on immediately while the decision is still hot. If it fails, you build a better one, and you act on that. The drifter waits for certainty before moving, and certainty never comes. The person who wins moves first, and lets the movement itself reveal the next step. Action. Even one small action taken today is what proves to the deeper mind that the decision was real. Now, the deepest part, the part Hill circled back to again and again. Wealth, to him, was never only about money. The money was simply evidence. Evidence that a person had taken full command of their own mind. That was the real prize. Because a mind that can be trained to attract wealth can be trained to attract almost anything. Peace, health, the right people, the right work. Money is just the most visible proof that the inner work is done. That is why the state of mind matters more than any strategy. Strategies change with the times. A trained mind adapts to any time. You are not trying to get rich by luck, and luck is not what you are building. You are becoming the kind of person that wealth is naturally drawn to. And here is why that matters. That person does not lose it when it finally comes, because they understand exactly how they built it, and they can build it again from nothing if they ever have to. So let me give you the practice, plainly, so that you can begin today. Each morning, before you touch your phone, before you let the world pour its noise into you, you state your exact aim as if it is already true. Not I hope to, not I want to, I am becoming. You say the figure, you say the reason, and you feel it as if it has already happened. Then each night, before you sleep, you say it again, and you let it be the last thing your mind holds before it goes quiet. The mind believes what it hears most often. And right now, for most people, the loudest voice it hears all day long is fear. All you are doing is changing who speaks first in the morning and who speaks last at night. Do that, and slowly the inner picture and the outer life begin to move toward each other. Your attention sharpens, your decisions steady, the drifting stops, and the thing you finally decided on begins quietly to make its way toward you. So start today. Name the figure. Say it out loud before the world wakes up. Refuse to drift. Refuse to shrink it to keep other people comfortable. And refuse to quit one step early. You were never short on effort. You have worked hard your whole life. You were short on a decision. So make it now, today, before you do anything else. And then come back here Tuesday and Friday, because the next decision is already waiting for you. We are building this mind together, one lesson at a time. I will see you in the next one.